Today I'm excited to share with you some amazing DIY home decor projects I made using clearance items from Hobby Lobby and JOANN. Get ready for some home inspiration and creativity. Welcome to CJ DIY. I am C. First up, I made this beautiful project using design from Hobby Lobby's clearance section. I was able to snag this one for $7 and some change, and look how beautiful it is. You can leave it like it is, but I wanted to give it a makeover. After I remove the price tag, I'm gonna be adding some stripes between these wire birdcage lines with this cowgirl coral DIY paint. So with my brush, I'm going over and make sure that I don't cover the wire on top. It was a little bit difficult, and I'm creating stripes with this paint. I'm going to give two good coats with this paint and give it a unique look to this sign. You can always be creative and add any color as you prefer, but I really think this cowgirl coral paint from DIY collection is such a beautiful color that it's gonna bring this brightness to the bird and to this birdcage sign. And with the help of adding a little bit of color, you're gonna have a unique look for your home decor. Now that I made the stripes, I also covered the top part of the sign, and now I'm adding some paint on the side as well. Whenever I add the paint on the wire birdcage, I remove it with a wipe, and it was so easy to remove the paint. And now when it's nice and dry, also I seal the paint with a clear wax, and when it's nice and dry, now I'm gonna be adding some embellishments. I'm gonna be using these wedding fairy wands that I purchased from Hobby Lobby for like $2, and I'm just cutting off the ribbons and I'm gonna add them on my birdcage. On top, I'm adding some green peaks before I add the ribbons, and I decided to add 2 on each side. Sorry that it's off the camera frame, but I'm just adding those 2 peaks on each side between the wires. I didn't add any glue because maybe in the future I can remove those peaks. And also on the bottom framing, as you can see, I'm just bending over a couple of green peaks, and I'm adding just some random greeneries that I have in my stash, just to make it more colorful and prettier look. Also on the corner, I'm gonna be adding some flowers, and I decided to add some leaves and glue them on top of the greeneries that I added. And I'm gonna add 2 beautiful, I believe those are peonies, and I'm gluing the leaves on top of the greeneries that I already added, and I'm gonna add these 2 beautiful peonies on top of them. The ribbons that I cut off from the wedding wands, I'm just tying them around the handle of the birdcage, and with adding these lace burlap cream ribbons, I'm just making this sign like a French country shabby chic look, and I'm adding those ribbons between the wires so the birdie can be visible. And also I cut them off on a smaller pieces, and with this I'm gonna create a funky bow with layering all those 3 different ribbons that I had, and we're gonna make a perfect funky bow with it. I'm just layering them off until I'm done with them, and then I'm gonna tie them with the twine, and we're gonna add them in the middle part of my birdcage. I'm gluing it in the middle part on top of my other ribbons, and on top of it, as an extra embellishment, I decided to add one of these totally dazzled brooch to add some little bit of bling to it. And this sign is done, and you gotta let me know what do you think about this makeover. Next, I'm using this sign from JOANN's that I purchased for like $2 and some change, and I'm gonna be adding some coral paint on this one as well. Now that I cover it all with this paint, I'm going to be using a paint Inlays, this Paradise collection, and I'm just going to cut off a portion that I'm going to be adding it in the middle part of my sign. After I measure it, I cut that part as well, and now I'm going to add it on top of the sign. And while the paint is wet, I'm going over with the fingers, make sure this transfer is on nice and smooth. I'm even using my decoupage brayer, and at the end I'm just using a wet wipe to make sure that inlay transfer will be on my sign. I let it dry, and after it's dry, again with a wet wipe, I'm just going over to remove it and see if the transfer layered on my sign, and it was just perfect and beautiful, and I really love how it came out. So when you're using these inlay paints, make sure you add it while the paint is wet, and on top you're just adding a wet towel and let it dry for just a couple of hours, and after that again you're using a wet towel and remove the header sheet from that inlay, and you're gonna have a perfect look. Now when we have that part also with the same paint, I'm just going over with the flowers and covering that with the same paint. Also for the leaves, I'm just using this Monet Garden DIY paint just to add more colors, and we have a perfect look for this sign. Now that I painted, I'm going to leave it on the side to dry, and also I'm going to be using one of these wooden round signs from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be adding some stencil to it. I got this stencil also from Hobby Lobby. I got this one from a long time ago. I only paid like $3 or $4 for it, and I just want to add some cowgirl coral paint as well on this stencil. So with my sponge brush, I'm just going over, not a lot of paint, and covering the sign with this stencil, and I really love how it came out. Now that I cover it off, and look at these beautiful designs that I have on it, and it's gonna be perfect for the rest of my sign. So now I'm just adding a wood glue and adding the first part of this sign on top of it. I didn't want it to leave it simple like it was, so that's why I added that round Dollar Tree sign, and I think with adding that, it makes just a perfect unique look for home decor. And you gotta let me know, what do you think about this look? For extra embellishment, I'm adding this greenery garland that I also purchased from Hobby Lobby for like a couple of dollars, and I'm just adding a glue and adding it around the round sign and adding more greeneries to my sign to make it more colorful and cohesive. Then wanted to add some extra, so I only made a simple 2-loop bow from this ribbon, and that's it for this look. For my next project, I'm going to be using another wooden sign from JOANN's that I also purchased for like a couple of dollars, and it's coming with 3D flowers, magnet flowers. I'm adding the same paint that I used for my previous sign, and I'm using the same inlays on this one as well. But this time I want to show you a different step that you can use those inlays. I'm spraying off with the water on the paint inlays, and the sign is already dry. So this time I'm just wetting off my inlay sheet, and now I'm just going over and smoothing it out, and on top of it I'm just going with the towel and make sure this sheet is nice layered on the sign, and we're gonna have a perfect look. I'm just also using my decoupage brayer to make sure my sheet is nice and smooth, and I'm gonna let it dry for a few hours. And now after it's dry, I'm just going over with a wet towel. And with adding the wet towel, the sheet, the dryer sheet, will be removed in one piece, and you can reuse this inlay sheet for your other projects as well. The inlays will be a little bit faded, but they can be reusable for like 2-3 times. And after that, I'm removing the header, and look at this beautiness. I really love those flowers with those birdies and that coral background paint. And I also painted my 3D flowers with adding some yellow shadow with the coral paint as well, and with these Monet garden leaves on the back. I think it looks so beautiful. On top, I'm gonna be adding a 2-loop simple bow, and also I'm adding this garland around the sign to add extra embellishment and to make it more cohesive with my other sign that I made. And that's it. This project is done. Look at these beautiful wooden frames from JOANN's that I purchased for like $2-3. I believe they were on 75% clearance as well. And they also coming up with this wooden stick on the back so we can make them stand out. I'm showing them to you, and I'm covering them with this white acrylic paint. And then for the middle part, I cut off these wooden sticks, and we're gonna cover that as well. I want to make sure that I need enough sticks for each frame of those. I need 5 wooden sticks. I'm also, before I glue them to my signs, I'm painting them with a coral and with a white paint. I'm making stripes with them, and now they're painted and dry. I'm gonna glue them on the back part of my wooden signs as well, and we're gonna make a perfect, unique and cohesive look with my other decor that I'm creating today. And not just the coral paint, you can add any paint that you prefer. You can make this as a black and white or cream and brown. You can make any stripes that you like, and you're gonna have a perfect look for your taste. I repeated the same step on my second frame, and now I'm gonna be adding these IOD transfers with these new spring IOD collections, and I'm gonna be adding these apple blossoms peaks on each frame. so I wanted to make them cohesive, and with this floral, I think my background, it's just a perfect look. So I'm just cutting off the picks that I wanted to add as a transfers on my sign, and I think it's gonna look just perfect. I added the transfer on the corner of my sign, and slowly, because those flower around the frames are like a 3D, they were so little bit difficult to add them. I want to make sure the transfer is going on my sticks and well. And now with my scraper tool, I'm going over and transferring my picks, and not even 2 minutes, you're gonna have a perfect look on your wooden frame. I repeated the same step on my second sign, except on this one I added this apple blossom words on the corner, and I sealed them with a Mod Podge, and that's it for this quick and easy DIY. For my next creation, I found this clothes from JOANN's. Believe it or not, it was only like $3-4 on that 75% off. It came with these wooden flower cutoffs that you can add. I'm just showing you, and you're gonna have a perfect look. I like how they look, but this time I'm not gonna be using these wooden cutouts for the inside part. On top of my glass cloche, I'm gonna be adding a metal doorknob, obviously painted with this dark brown color to make it like an iron. I add this all adhesive glue on top of it, and I'm gonna glue it. And for the inside part, I got this cherry blossom in my stash, and I think with adding these blossom flowers, it's gonna match with my signs, as you can see, and it's gonna be perfect look. Before that, I'm adding some green moss on the bottom wooden part, and I'm gonna be adding this floral in the middle part. Also, I'm gonna be adding some green peaks and some coral peaks that I got in my stash to match with all decor that I'm creating today. And we're gonna have a perfect new look for this cloche, and just for $4 you have this amazing high-end look. And that's why you gotta run to JOANN and Hobby Lobby these days to grab all those clearance that I picked up, and I recreate them and I upcycle them and make them into a beautiful home decor pieces. Finally, after I got the look that I like with the greeneries and the florals, I'm adding the glass part on top of it, and this is how it looks. I really love all these beautiful simple look on it. I'm gonna clean up all that mess that I made with the moss, and I'm gonna be using this candle holder that also I picked up from Hobby Lobby for $2.47, and I'm gonna be adding this cloche on top of it, and I think it looks just perfect. I found this cute tabletop from Hobby Lobby. I really love the side of it. I only paid $2 and some change. I'm only gonna change the top part. So after I sand it with my sanding block, I'm gonna give it a 2 good coats with my coral paint. And now we're gonna add the poem of the apple blossom for this IOD transfer collection, and we're gonna add another pick with this blossom flowers as well, and make it just perfect tabletop decor to make it cohesive with the rest of the decorations that we made over today. So with my scraping tool, I'm just going over and make sure the whole words are transferred on my sign. After it's transferred, I'm just furbish it with my header sheet that this transfer came with, and I'm repeating the same step with my floral pick as well. And also to seal it, I'm adding a matte finish Mod Podge, and you have a perfect look with this tabletop. I also decided to add some extra because I was missing something in this sign. So I decided to add this lace ribbon on each corner, on two corners actually, of this sign to make it more like a shabby chic French country vintage look. So I'm adding just a little bit of glue on the corner where I want to add the ribbon, and I'm adding the ribbon to it and cutting off the edges. Another item that I found at the Hobby Lobby clearance section was this cute sign that I purchased for like $2 and some change. And I'm gonna cover it with the same cowgirl coral paint. I gave it 3 good coats this time to cover all those letters on it. And I'm just only covering that white part on this board. I like the framing with that detail on top of it. And I'm gonna let it dry. After that is dry, I'm gonna be adding these cute stamps from IOD, and I'm gonna be adding a bird cage with a birdie. Since first time I'm using those stamps, 2 stamps, I'm just sanding them off with a block, and now I'm adding a black ink, and I'm gonna add the birdie in the middle part of my sign. Before I add the birdie, I want to make sure that bird cage fit exactly in that middle part of my sign. And I want to make sure when I transfer this birdie ink, it's right there in the middle on my bird cage, if that makes sense. And now, slowly with my finger, I'm holding off the stamp on the birdie. And then with my other finger, I'm going over through the birdie, make sure that whole ink is transferred on my sign. Now that I got the birdie transfer, I'm gonna add the mask of the birdie that also came with these pastiche IOD stamps. That's the name of this collection stamps. I'm just adding the mask, and now on top of that, I'm gonna transfer the bird cage. After I added a black ink, slowly I'm just cleaning off where the ink went on the side of the stamp, and now slowly I'm gonna transfer it in the middle part where I added the birdie. And usually when I add the stamps, I'm just holding it with one hand, and then with my other hand with the fingers, I'm just going over through all those crevices that this bird cage came with, because there is so many details on those stamps. IOD transfers and IOD stamps and whatever IOD is creating is such a beautiful and unique look that you have to try it. It's so beautiful. I'm in love with all those beautiful pieces. For extra embellishment, I added some beaded tassel on the corner. I also made a 2 shoelace bow, burlap shoelace bow. I added some greeneries also, and I'm gonna glue them on all together on the corner of this tabletop, and that's it for this creation. Let me know which of those creations was your favorite. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy seeing how I transform these clearance items into beautiful home decor pieces. Remember, with a little creativity, you can turn anything into something amazing. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more DIY inspiration. And if you have any questions or you want to share your own DIY projects, leave them in the comments below, or you can always message me through email or Instagram. And don't forget to hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video, my darlings. Blessings from me to you. Until next time. Bye bye.